Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, July 24th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 43 days, the game against Michigan in 127 days. We're sponsored today by our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus or scan that convenient QR code on your screen to check out the menu and make a reservation today. Ohio State got some bad news on the recruiting trail on Wednesday, and then they got some good news on the recruiting trail on Thursday. I'm going to welcome in Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeInsiders.com to talk about that. Tony, Ohio State added a quarterback. They never technically lost to this quarterback, but it seemed like maybe they had lost this quarterback. But now Brady Edmunds is officially, once again, something he has never not been, which is the quarterback in Ohio State's 2027 recruiting class.
Yeah, Brady Edmunds committed to Ohio State December 2nd, 2024, and has reaffirmed his commitment on Thursday, July 23rd. And it's been about a month, almost a month later than we thought, or, at least 3 weeks later than we thought it would be. Because when we talked to him, I think it was around June 17th or so, he said that, he had some things to think about. He wanted to get some questions answered from Ohio State on his visit, and when that happened, he would, he would know. And he said if the answers are good, like what he's looking for, then it wouldn't take long for him to reaffirm his decision. And then the longer this takes, it's kind of like the jury has not come back yet. What does that mean? Is this good for the defense? Is this bad for the defense? And it turns out I don't know who's the plaintiff and who is the the defense here, but reaffirms his commitment and will be a part of the 2027 recruiting class for Ohio State.
And this was a situation where, there was some question that Ohio State was maybe sniffing around on some other guys, and we got a chance to talk to Brady when he was in Columbus back in June. He was there for a camp day, he was there for a 7-on-7 day, and he was, an unbelievably impressive kid. This is a very difficult point in his life and his decision-making process. And the last thing in the world you would want to do if you were in this situation as a high school senior or senior to be is to go up to, a half a dozen or a dozen guys who look like us and say, let me just lay it all out for you. And he did. And that's one of those things where I did not expect that. And he stood there and talked to us for, 8-10 minutes, something like that. And really just kind of went through the whole process. And I came away from that thinking, I don't know where he's going. I don't know if he's going to Ohio State or UCLA or somewhere else, but man, he's a very, very impressive kid. On the field too, you watch him around a bunch of other quarterbacks and some other good other quarterbacks who were there, and just, man, oh man, he can sling the football.
Yeah, camp and the 7-on-7 circuit is really, that's made for him, and that's not all that the quarterback is, but he was throwing the ball. He was accurate, which was good to see. Obviously a strong arm. He's 6'5", 225 pounds. He looks like your prototypical drop back quarterback, and I think it's the prototypical drop back quarterback label that was maybe a little concerning. It was like, can he run well enough? And he was even asked about that because, like you said, he answered every question. And even up until that point, like throughout the day, we're all going up to him and like, hey, are you going to talk? When are you going to talk? He's like, can we do it after this? Like, he's asking, like, is it okay if we do it after I play football? It's like, fine. If you're going to wait until you're done playing football for the day. And, and he was asked about his mobility. He's like, well, my leg was injured. I was playing injured. So it's like, he had answers for that as well. So kind of what you have seen so far is he's been limited, but the arm is certainly not limited. And, I've been able to see him grow. We've been able to see him grow over the last couple of years. It's not the first camp he's been to at Ohio State. He was here last year, probably the year before as well. But he's gotten more accurate. The big arm has always been there, but like the deep accuracy, I think, has improved. That was one of the issues that I saw just in a few of his throws back in 2025. And he's been on camp the last 2 years at Ohio State with some really, really good quarterbacks, and he was right there with them this time around. So that was good to see. And I think everybody watching, basically, as we're all talking, all of us who cover all of this, we'll just end up like looking over and talking to somebody else who's doing this, and it's like, so what's the issue? Like, why is there a question mark? And so now, good for him getting into class. They certainly, quarterback is not as important. Quarterback recruiting is not as important as it used to be because of the portal, but you don't want to, go empty-handed too often. And so they got a guy who, like you said, really, really mature as like there's no concerns about anything like non-football related or anything like that. And so it seems like a win-win for both sides, and hope things work out. But the number of quarterbacks that schools sign and keep for 5 years or 4 years is not the same percentage that it used to be. But starting off at Ohio State or finishing at Ohio State, both pretty good things for your resume.
Definitely. You are going to get some pretty darn good coaching while you're at Ohio State, and you have an opportunity to play with a pretty talented supporting cast. And so just let's take a quick run through the quarterback classes and what that depth chart is going to look like. Julian Sayin, obviously this is his third year. He theoretically could be back for a fourth year and even a fifth year. I don't think the fifth year especially is particularly likely, and we may not even see him for a fourth year. We'll see how the 2026 season goes. But beyond Julian Sayin, class of 2025, they brought in Tavian St. Clair, 5-star prospect. He is the backup this year. By all accounts, if Julian Sayin does leave after this year, you would certainly assume Tavian St. Clair is your front runner for the 2027 quarterback job. True freshman this year, Luke Fahey. Brady Edmunds now locked back in for 2027, so he would be the quarterback for that next year. And then 2028, Brady Edmunds, we were very, very impressed with Brady Edmunds. Man, oh man, there were some really, really good 2028 quarterbacks that we saw at Ohio State camp over the course of the month of June. One of them, Lucas Prock, came off the board. He committed to Indiana on Thursday. But you look at some of those other names and some of those other guys that we saw, they could have a really, really good player locked in for 2028 sooner rather than later, too.
Yeah, Christopher Vargas was another one, 5-star quarterback. He was there a couple of days there for the 7-on-7 as well. And he's 6'4", 6'5", about 180 pounds or so, and we'll get bigger. He's just very C.J. Stroud-like in terms of his build, but a little taller. And he also excelled in that 7-on-7 stuff. That was easy for him. They didn't even have him doing most of the camp stuff because they've seen enough, and I think he's their top target. And if they can get him, then that's a home run, certainly. I also have liked Donald Tabron the last couple of years. We saw him last year in 2025 as a young quarterback. He's from Cass Tech in Detroit, so you wonder whether he's going to end up at Michigan or something like that. But he's always been impressive, so that was a good one to watch. We've seen Neiman Lawrence over the years. He finally committed to Texas a while back. But yeah, there's been some good ones. JoJo Boyd, who's an uncommitted quarterback out of California, who is a top 150 guy, could be a 5-star type as well, and another guy with good size, good arm. There are a lot of guys. Titus Heward, another one that from the Heward family, the Heward family tree out of Colorado. They had some good ones in there, and if you can get your number one guy and get him locked in, and then move on and have him help build your recruiting class, as long as you're sure about that guy, then that's what they want to do. But yeah, we'll see. I know Vargas may not be in a huge hurry right now, but I think he's probably a guy that they'll wait on. Maybe not put all of their eggs in that basket, Tom, but certainly somebody they're willing to wait for.
Yeah, I'm guessing some lessons may have been learned this week on that front. But yeah, a lot of very, very good options at quarterback for 2028 for Ohio State. And now for Ohio State, thankfully, a very, very good option locked in Brady Edmunds, reaffirming his commitment and sort of closing that potential question mark for the 2027 recruiting cycle for the Buckeyes. So there you go. There is some good recruiting news for you as we get ready to head to Big Ten Media Days. The season is just about to start, at least the sort of unofficial start to the season. This is the time when Tony and I sort of say goodbye to our families, and we'll see you around late MLK Day, maybe a week after. We'll see how the season goes. But going to be a very, very busy time the next few months. We would love to spend that entire football season with you at BuckeyeInsiders.com. That's where Tony and I are your team insiders, letting you know everything you need to know about the 2026 Ohio State football team. We have Chuck Maletti, our recruiting insider, keeping you up to speed on the 2027 class, 2028 class, and beyond. Get Ross Fulton and Michael Pettit. They are our scheme insiders, making you a smarter football fan, letting you know and what to expect out of the Ohio State offense and defense this year. And yes, we cover basketball too. Marcus Hartman, our basketball insider, covering Jake Diebler and his basketball Buckeyes in what should be a really, really interesting potential step forward season for them as well. We would love to see you there at BuckeyeInsiders.com. Sign up today. You can get access to our insiders board, get a chance to hear from all of our insiders, get information we can't necessarily always share on these shows, and access to a really, really fun and active community there as well. And thanks again to our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.